The War Council chamber fell silent as the massive doors groaned open. Leon stepped through the threshold, his boots echoing against the obsidian floor, and every apex predator in the galaxy turned to witness what should have been impossible. Commander Vrex of the Carthian Empire rose from his seat, his 4 eyes widening in disbelief. Around the circular table sat representatives of 17 warrior species, beings who had conquered worlds, who knew only the language of dominance and submission. The Carthians with their razor-sharp exoskeletons, the Threxian berserkers whose very presence made the air taste of ozone and violence, the shadow walkers of Nixral who harvested fear like farmers harvested grain, and yet every single one of them lowered their heads as Leon walked past. Not in defeat. Not in submission, in reverence. Because strapped to Leon's chest in a makeshift carrier were 2 cubs, Carthian young, no more than 3 cycles old, their soft chittering filling the war chamber with sounds it had never heard before. Their tiny claws gripped Leon's tactical vest, their bioluminescent spots pulsing with the calm rhythm of contentment. Impossible, Vrex hissed, his translator struggling to convey the emotion behind the word. Those are Warlord Kesserel's offspring. They were taken during the siege of Hephaestus Station. We received the ransom demand. We saw the transmission showing them in captivity, terrified, starving. Leon's expression remained neutral, though his jaw was tight. The slavers didn't anticipate us finding their base so quickly. By the time we breached, the cubs were in bad shape. Dehydrated, hypothermic. He paused, his hand instinctively moving to support one of the small beings against his chest. We had options for how to handle it. We chose the human way. From behind him, Elsa emerged, carrying supplies and medical equipment. Her dark hair was pulled back severely, and exhaustion lined her face, but her eyes burned with fierce determination. She moved to the table and began unpacking thermal blankets and nutrition packets specifically formulated for Carthian young. The human way. This came from Thrukkar, the Threxian war chief, whose voice could shatter reinforced glass. You speak in riddles, softskins. Elsa looked up, and despite being a fraction of Thrukkar's size, her gaze made the massive warrior take a step back. The human way means that when we found these babies, yes, babies, that's what they are, scared and alone in a cold cell, we didn't see enemy combatants. We didn't see leverage. We saw children who needed help. She pulled up a holographic display from her wrist device. The images showed Leon and Elsa's team breaching the slaver compound. The footage was clinical at first. Tactical movements, suppression fire, methodical room clearing. Then the perspective shifted to helmet cam footage from inside the holding cells. The council watched in silence as the recording showed Leon discovering the cubs huddled in a corner. Their chittering transformed into desperate keening. The human's vital signs spiked on the display. Elevated heart rate. Adrenaline surge, the biological markers of a warrior preparing for violence. But instead of violence, they witnessed something that made even the most hardened predators in the room shift uncomfortably. Leon holstered his weapon. He removed his tactical jacket, wrapped it around the freezing cubs, and held them against his chest. The helmet cam captured his voice, soft and steady. It's okay now. You're safe. I've got you. For 3 solar days, Elsa continued, her voice cutting through the heavy silence. We transported these cubs across hostile territory. Leon carried them the entire way. He gave them his rations, his water, his body heat when our life support failed during the asteroid field crossing. He sang to them. Sang? Vrex interrupted, the word emerging like something alien. Human young respond to melodic vocalization when distressed. Leon explained matter-of-factly. It's the instinctive caregiving behavior. Turns out it works across species. He adjusted the carrier slightly. They stopped crying on the 2nd day. Started eating on the 3rd. Thrukkar stepped forward, his massive form blocking the chamber's light. You carried enemy offspring. Protected them. Nurtured them. While your own kind bleeds in this war. His tone suggested the question was both accusation and genuine confusion. Leon met the warrior's gaze without flinching. My kind bleeds in this war because we believe some things are worth protecting. Because we understand that strength isn't just about how hard you can hit. It's about what you choose not to break. He gestured to the cubs, who had fallen asleep against his chest, their bioluminescence dimming to the soft glow of contentment. These aren't enemy combatants. They're kids, and humans don't make war on children, regardless of whose children they are. The Shadow Walker representative, Navara, materialized from the darkness at the edge of the chamber. Her species fed on fear, subsisted on the terror of others. This makes no tactical sense. You could have used them as leverage, could have turned them into weapons against their own people. Elsa's expression hardened. That's the difference between you and us. You're asking why we'd show mercy to the children of our enemies. She paused, letting her words sink in. We're wondering why you wouldn't. Vrex approached slowly, his movements careful, almost reverent. He reached out with one clawed appendage, stopping just short of touching the sleeping cubs. His body language shifted, something the translator couldn't capture but every warrior in the room understood. In Carthian culture, Vrex said quietly, there is an old concept. Kesthara. It means those who carry light and darkness. We thought it was myth, legend. The idea that beings could exist who would protect even their enemies most vulnerable, at cost to themselves. He looked at Leon, then at Elsa. We thought it was impossible, that evolution would never permit such weakness. It's not weakness, Leon said firmly. One of the cubs stirred, and he automatically adjusted his stance, rocking slightly in the universal motion of comfort. It's the strongest thing we do. It's what separates civilization from savagery, Elsa added softly. It's what makes us human. The War Council stood in silence, processing what they had witnessed. These humans, these bizarre, contradictory beings who could be both ferocious warriors and gentle caretakers in the same breath, had done something that violated every principle of predator warfare these species knew. They had shown mercy, true mercy, the kind that expected nothing in return. Vrex straightened, his exoskeleton clicking in the formal gesture of highest respect.
The Carthian Empire
withdraws from this conflict, effective immediately. The declaration sent shockwaves through the chamber. Furthermore, we pledge alliance to humanity. Not because we fear your weapons, but because we fear what we might become without your example. One by one, the other species representatives began to lower their heads again, this time in deliberate choice. The Threxians, the Nixarel, even the crystalline architects who had remained silent throughout. Throkar's deep voice rumbled. The Threxian clans will join this pledge. Navara's whisper carried through the chamber. The Nixarel collective as well. Leon looked around the room, genuine surprise breaking through his stoic expression. We didn't do this for political leverage. We did it because it was right. We know, Vrex said. That is precisely why. As the War Council transformed into a peace assembly, Elsa approached Leon and gently touched one of the cubs. It stirred, chittering softly, and both humans smiled, tired, worn, but genuine. Think this will actually work? Elsa whispered. Leon watched as former enemies began discussing terms of alliance, of cooperation, of a future built on something other than conquest. Maybe. Or maybe we just taught the galaxy's predators that there's something scarier than humans in battle. What's that? Humans with something to protect. The cubs slept on, unaware that their rescue had just changed the course of galactic history. And somewhere in the human part of his mind, Leon was already composing the lullaby he'd sing when they woke. End.